Next, we're going to look at solving compound inequalities. And these are just a small little version of what we've been doing before. Not small, a more complex version of what we've been doing before. I said the opposite of what I meant. But essentially, you've got something like this. We've seen compound inequalities before, and they looked like this. Basically, x is between two different numbers, so x is between 3 and 5. Remember, we would write this like that. Oops. Go it in on the number line, 3 to 5. So we're going to look at problems where we're actually given this. And in case you're curious, really what we're saying here is that x is greater than or equal to 3 and x is less than or equal to 5. Okay? So that's what this means. This means the same thing. They're joined with an and. So, in case you care, that's what that means. Anyway, the whole point is, whenever we're solving these problems here, is we're going to be given something like this. Less than or equal to 3. Okay? So if you're given something like this, the way that you do this is you kind of pretend that one part of it doesn't exist. And you say, well, if I covered that part up, what would I do to here, to what was remaining? You'd say, well, I'd subtract 1 from both sides. Okay. Well, what if this wasn't here? What would you do? You'd say, well, I'd go ahead and subtract 1 from both sides. So guess what? You're going to subtract 1, but you're going to subtract 1 from all 3 sides. So that's what we're going to say here. Why did I do that? That was a little weird. I'll just move these guys down. It's a little squished for my taste. So I'm going to say over here, oops, I missed my -1. That was goofy. I'll try again. Here we go. Not a problem. All right. So I'm going to write over here, whatever you do, do it to all sides of the equation. Whatever you do it to all sides of the equation. Okay, so -3 minus 1, -4. 2x plus 1 minus 1, that's going to be 2x. It's a little funky. And then less than or equal to 2. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to say, okay, well, if this wasn't here, what would I do? Well, I divide both sides by 2. Say, well, if this wasn't here, what would I do? Well, I divide both sides by 2. Your answer is going to be the same for either side, hopefully. If it's not, just pick one and see what happens. But nonetheless, you're going to do the same thing. What happened? You're going to do the same thing to all 3 sides. So I've got -2 is less than, x is less than or equal to 1. And believe it or not, that's your answer. You're already done with this problem. These are fantastic because they're pretty short and they look really hard, so I can put them on tests. So you've got going from -2, less than or equal, less than, not equal, and then less than or equal to 1. And I said less than here. What I really should have said was x is greater than -2, but nonetheless, I think you're getting the point. If it's got a less than sign, but without the equal, that's the point. It's the parenthesis instead of the bracket because it doesn't have the equal, and we just place it the direction it needs to go to get the answer. So we'll go from -2 to 1. Good? All right, so try a second one. So go ahead and try to work this out on your own. See what you get. Let's see. Actually, no, I have another idea. Let's do this instead. Do something like this. Let's try with 1 less than or equal to -2x plus 1 is less than 7. I want to try this one. Okay. If we do this, now what happens? So remember what we do is we'll cross off one side. So what would we do here? Well, we'll subtract 1 off of both sides. Well, what would we do if it looked like that? Again, we subtract 1 off of both sides. So we'll subtract 1 off of all 3 sides and get 0 less than or equal to negative 2x less than 6. So do the same thing. What would I do here? Divide by a negative 2. What would I do here? I divide by a negative 2. Right. So I'm going to divide everything by a negative 2, except now what do you need to remember to do when you divide by a negative? You need to flip those signs. Okay, so that's the thing that the sign flipping thing is going to get you when you're not thinking about it. So you need to be really aware that that's something that could happen. So less than or equal to becomes greater than or equal to. Less than becomes greater than. All right, so now we have something that looks strange, right? We've got a statement, but our symbols are facing the wrong direction. They're facing off of over here, and remember we want them to face off of this direction. So also our numbers are in the wrong order. 0 goes all the way down to negative 3. We want the numbers to increase. We want stuff to go this way. When we have compound inequalities, everything always wants to go off to the right. So we're really going to do exactly what you may think, maybe. What we're going to do is we're going to flip this. We're going to completely flip this. So we're going to start from the right. We're going to start from over here. We're going to put that over here. So we're going to start at negative 3. And we see that the chomper is chomping toward the x. So if we're going to write the x next, that means the chomper is still to be chomping the x. We're going to write the 0, and we see over here that we're chomping the 0 with an equal sign, so we still need to be chomping the 0 with an equal sign. And it's really as straightforward as that. Try not to overthink this. We're just flipping the equation entirely. So as we flip it, that means we're going to go from negative 3 to 0, and if we draw it, negative 3 to 0, negative 3 equals to 0. And go like that. Good? Okay.